All right, back in studio. That doesn't mean nothing is happening in Arizona. We're going to get caught up on everything we've missed since our last show. We're going to do that next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, last week we talked about Andrew McCutchen and his impact and how it could affect a lot of things. And today we're going to do it a little bit further because we're going to predict the roster, the opening day roster. It's our second crack at it. We'll probably have a third and a fourth. But for now, number 2. And there's been some changes. If you didn't see it today at alldls.com/Rangers. I posted that thing bright and early this morning. At least it was early for me. I don't know about you guys, but anyway, we'll get to that in just a second. I'm Jeff Wilson. The prophet, Elijah, he's here in the house making me look good and making the show look good. And as I always say, I need all the help I can get. So I hope everybody had a good weekend and we're following the Rangers. We've had 4 games since we did our last show. And we're going to get caught up on that as we do the camp rundown, starting with a little bit of news today, or I guess it was yesterday. Whatever. The Rangers did make a waiver claim yesterday with Dayron Blanco being claimed from the Royals, who they DFA'd him, I think, for Sterling Marte. And lo and behold, he's on the roster. And he was optioned today. So he's not in big league camp, or if he was, is about 5 minutes. Anyway, what do we know about Blanco other than the DFA? Outfielder, big-time speed. He's got a little power. He hits right-handed pitching, or left-handed pitching as a right-handed hitter. He's a Cuban who defected a few years ago. Well, more than a few years ago, but a Cuban defectee. Got a late start in his career. This isn't a young guy. He's 33. And again, he has minor league options and was sent out this morning. So a depth piece. Rangers are obviously looking at all the options that they can possibly get their hands on. Andrew McCutchen included in that. So anyway, the Rangers had to make a move to get Blanco onto the 40-man, so they shifted Jordan Montgomery to the 60-day injured list. He's not going to be ready until June or July, maybe August. I don't remember anymore. But there is some news with Jordan Montgomery. He's going to throw off a mound, I think tomorrow is what he told me. He's been throwing off the old half mound, kind of get acquainted with the slope again. The next step is on top of the mound. Probably a 20-pitch bullpen would be my guess. All fastballs. He'll probably do that for, I'd say, 5 or 6 bullpens, kind of slowly build up before he starts mixing in the breaking stuff. Probably a changeup first. It's not a breaking ball, but you understand, off-speed pitches. So anyway, good news on Montgomery as he begins his slow march back. And then if you would, you looked any areas of concern, maybe Kyle Higashioka, back spasms, which are never a good thing, especially for a catcher. They're not good things for me. They're not good things for you. And but he's not doing too darn bad with that. He is not playing today. The thought was he would play today, but he's not. We have today's lineup. The Rangers are playing the Padres, game that starts at 3 our time, 1 their time. Arizona does not do daylight savings, so it was a painful morning for me yesterday with youth sports on the agenda. But anyway, there's your lineup. Nimmo, Peterson, McCutchen. So there you go. Andrew McCutchen, his first Cactus League game. Evan Carter, Haggerty, Duran, Canna, Wade, MacGyver, and Trey Supak, who was just sent out. He's starting today. In case you're wondering, it sure seemed like it was Jacob deGrom's day to pitch today. He and Mackenzie Gore are both going to pitch tomorrow. Not sure if they will. Obviously, I don't think they'll be pitching in the same game. The Rangers just have have one game tomorrow. It's not a split squad. So somebody's going to end up in a minor league game. I don't know who it'll be. It'll be interesting. I would imagine that the more veteran player will get the opportunity to pitch on the backfields if he wants, and so that would be DeGrom, who's just on his own program. We're going to talk about him a little bit later, but there's your lineup for today. Like I said, saw a question already about Josh Young. He was in the 10-day window. I think he's getting toward the end of that. When I left Friday, I talked to him Friday morning. He said he was doing everything, hitting and fielding and all of that. Running is always the last thing, and so you've got to be cautious with that, especially with Josh. So he should be back this week. You know, the Rangers have an off day Wednesday, so maybe after the off day is when he will get in there. Still plenty of time for him to get at bats and get ready for opening day, but he's got to be healthy first. So the Rangers want to take their time with that. Bunch of roster moves in addition to Blanco send-outs, as Skip Schumacher calls them. I call them roster cuts. Whatever you want to say, the camp roster has gotten smaller. First, and this is on the technical side, David Davalillo and Leandro Lopez were optioned to Double-A Frisco. Michael Otanez and Blanco optioned to Triple-A. It's important to note that guys who are on the 40-man roster get optioned. Technically, they are optioned, not reassigned, optioned. Now, those who were reassigned, a lot of internal invites in this group, a couple of non-roster invites. Ryan Lobus, Eric Loomis, who was the Rangers reliever of the year last year, Patrick Murphy, who darn near made the club last year, would have made the club if he hadn't gotten hurt in the last week, Trey Supak, who again is starting today, and then DLLS favorite Robbie Alstrom. All right, on the position player side, infielder Andrew Velasquez, who is about Jose Altuve's size, and I think he's thinner. Anyway, Aaron Zavala and Cooper Johnson, and who was it who mentioned Janet? Janet said she was not happy about the Zavala thing. You know what? He had a hell of a camp, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later. He probably wasn't going to make the team. You know, he's a left-handed hitting outfielder, probably behind Alejandro Osuna. So it's going to be tough for Osuna to make the roster, which means it's going to be tough for Zavala. But a great camp for Aaron. Again, we're going to talk about him a little bit later. Okay, 4 games since the last show, which was Thursday. Rangers played that night and won the game. The wind-filled, run, high-scoring win over the Royals, 15-9. Then 3 straight losses. Gore pitched in that wind-aided game and gave up like 6 or 7 runs. I told him afterward I lost track. He was in good spirits about it. It was very windy, and Skip Schumacher really was like, well, you know, the wind, and not really counting this one. The thing is, Gore didn't give up a home run. He gave up a lot of hard contact in the first inning, came back, was better in the second, and even the third when he left the game. So not all was lost. He was happy with how the way the ball was coming out, said it's the best it's been out all spring. So there were positives in there, even though it looked like a nightmare. It was a nightmare for Cole Reagans, holy moly, but these were all Rockets too. Leiter pitched the next day, a loss to the Mariners. He was working on his cutter and his changeup. He felt okay about those. The cutter he called a complimentary pitch. I don't think he's going to work on it or throw it a lot this season, but he wants to have it, and when he uses it, he wants to be able to throw it for a strike. Jake Latz pitched Saturday and did okay. You know, I know that he gave up some runs there in his last inning, some walks. Velocity was down in the last inning, but guess what? These guys are building up. It's okay if they get tired. You just got to push past it. A lot of dead arm in this phase of camp, and you just have to pitch through it. So I don't have any issues with what happened with Jake. And then yesterday was Valdi, the first Ranger starter to go 5 innings. He is definitely lined up for opening day. Gave up 2 runs, I think 5 hits, and no issues there. He's looking good. If you want to wonder about the offense, signs of encouragement, or some power has come from the bats of regulars. So that's even more encouraging. Jake Berger has been on kind of a homer run here lately. The stats from the Brazil game don't count, but he had 3 homers last week, including I think 2 or 3 days in a row he homered, games in a row. Josh Smith, who had 2 homers against Brazil, he has found his power stroke, and so has Evan Carter, who hit a grand slam yesterday. So when you want to stop and ask about how the offense is doing, kind of look at those guys, because Berger is one of the guys that had to come around. Josh Smith is a guy who is going to be given the chance to play every day at second base, and then Evan Carter, of course, just want to be healthy, right? And it certainly looks like he is. He's been hitting the ball hard. He didn't necessarily have the results to show for it early. Like, remember, his very first at bat of spring training, he lined out up the middle. So I think he's in a good place, and that's a good thing for the Rangers. One more thing, if you want to look at Sunday's lineup, the first 6 batters were Nimmo, Langford, Seager, then Berger, Carter, Smith. We'll even throw in a 7th, Jansen. Those are regulars. And that's important to note. The regulars are going to be playing a lot more now. At some point, you will see some semblance of the everyday lineup. And yesterday was really, you've seen this before, Nimmo, Langford, Seager as the first 3 batters. It really looks like Skip Schumacher does not want to have Nimmo and Langford batting back-to-back, 2 left-handed bats. That's why you got Langford in the middle there. So I'm noticing a trend. And then if you can put a right-handed hitter behind Seager, like Berger or Young, if they're producing and a threat, then it makes it really hard later in the game when opposing managers want to go to the bullpen. They can't. You don't have 2 lefties in a row for them to face. Bring in a lefty. Carter, I still don't know where Carter is going to bat. He has batted 5th before, right? He did that in the postseason. He batted 3rd in the postseason in 23. Some people are thinking he needs to be lower. It's a pretty dynamic bat, though. Now, we got to make note that Jock Peterson might be in that spot, but you could go Carter or Peterson, then back him up with Young or Berger. Then you could go back to the left-handed bat, catcher Josh Smith maybe. I don't know. A lot of ways to do it, but Sunday's lineup should be noted. That's kind of the trend I'm seeing for at least the first 3. After that, we'll have to wait and find out. So, look, good things are happening offensively. They've scored a bunch of runs that game, notwithstanding against the Mariners, where they only scored the 1 run, which I believe came on a Carter home run. So there's progress there. Now, where else do you need to see progress? Well, Josh Young needs to get it back on the field. That's probably number 1 on the list, because it was at the beginning of camp and throughout the offseason. 3 guys had to be better: Berger, Young, Peterson. Again, hard for Peterson to be any worse than he was last year. He hasn't done a ton. Last spring he hit 5 home runs, and everybody was excited and all of that. He hasn't hit any this spring. I don't even know if he has anything but singles. So I don't know. Maybe a bad spring will translate to a good season. He can't be much worse than last year. But, yeah, got to get Young healthy. Berger is doing really well this spring. He's drawing walks. His average is over 300. And again, the power is there. He's hitting fastballs hard. And that's why the Rangers got him. The offseason project going 24 to 25 was to find guys who could hit fastballs. That's why they added Jake Berger. That's why they added Jock Peterson. When Berger was healthy, he did that. But he also chased a little too high sometimes. So he's trying to find the zone where he's best. And if he does that, he can hit the fastball at the top of the zone. It's the bottom of the zone that's kind of given him problems in the past. They tried to work on that last year, felt they had some success. So if he can cover up and down with the fastball and he stays healthy, the Rangers have something there. Again, Peterson, just going to have to wait and see. Young, you hope he's back on the field soon so that you can see that. Doesn't need a ton of at-bats. He can get at-bats in the minor leagues, those minor league games on the backfield. He can go down there and get as many at-bats as he wants on a given day. But you also don't want to rush him now because he's coming back from an injury. There's always that risk of re-aggravation. So we'll see how that plays out. That's segment 1. That was the camp rundown. We're going to go into the roster prediction next. But first, got some bills to pay with these ads. All right, this ad is brought to you by our friends at Wild Fork Foods. Wild Fork Meat and Seafood Markets, 9 DFW locations, 2 coming. And you can always go to wildforkfoods.com, where if you become a member for $29 a year, you can get free delivery either the same day and no later than the next day. That's pretty good value right there. And you even need to go to the store. But I would urge you to very strongly, the strongest terms, to go to the stores, see what they have. Meats of all cuts, different animals, your basics like the pork and the poultry and the beef. And then, like I always say, kangaroo and buffalo, other stuff that's, for the adventurous eater or for Australians, one of the two. Anyway, go there. The people there are so friendly, A, and B, they know so much about the meats, how to prepare them, how they prepare the meats, just fantastic ways to get great meals at cheap prices. Keep in mind, every week, the Wild Fork Foods honchos sit down, compare prices with other butchers in the area, even the grocery stores and places like Costco, and they try to meet or beat those prices. So wildforkfoods.com, our friends at Wild Fork Meat and Seafood Market, 9 DFW locations. Make sure you stop by one today and tell them DLLS sent you. And then we want to give a shout out to our friends at AirDNA, airdna.co/DLLS. You need to go there, especially if you want to make some extra money during the World Cup. AirDNA is like Airbnb in that you can list your home, rent it out to those Europeans who are going to be coming over and cheering on their favorite teams at Jerry World this summer. It's like game-changing money. It's huge money. $14,000 to $23,500. Are you kidding me? So you go to airdna.co/DLLS, type in all your information like your address and the size of your house and how many bedrooms, all that stuff, and it will tell you how much they think you can make. Again, this is life-altering money. You're talking about $20,000 for 1 month? I'm pretty intrigued. I don't know about the wife, but I know I'm intrigued. Go to airdna.co/DLLS. That's AirDNA. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and do this roster predictions. If you are a diehard and went over to the website this morning, you know what's coming. So anyway, a disclaimer, as always, these are educated guesses, but also keep in mind that when spring training started, we weren't, it's not like we're trying to pick 26 guys. It wasn't a completely wide open deal for every competition, for every spot. I would say that 21 of the spots were filled, 21 of the 26. Jacob Latz is going to be on the roster. We just don't know what role yet. The field of contenders has been trimmed. These roster moves have made for, given some clarity, though not, the guys they've moved out. It's not like they've moved out the main contenders, but still not as many as there were. And then there's a big shiny new one, Andrew McCutchen. Definitely a wrinkle in the bench competition. Like we've talked about, he's a right-handed hitter. He hits left-handers pretty well. He has to play the outfield. He looks like he's in fabulous shape, and we'll talk a little bit more about the kind of guy he is. So technically, yes, he still has to make the team. Seems like he will. I don't know why he would, why this deal would come together if the Rangers didn't think he was better than the rest of the guys. Mark Canha seems to be the guy who's the odd man out, but he had a good weekend. Friday, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, he made this great catch against the the Mariners, to rob a guy, I can't remember the batter, of what everybody thought was a home run. I still think that the railing above the fence is in play as part of the wall, but anyway, it was a great catch nonetheless. He kind of jumped, it hit off the heel of his glove and bounded into play. He fell on his butt and still made the catch. Then he hit a home run Saturday at the Giants. So, he's not going anywhere just yet. Blanco is not in the mix. We talked about that. He's already been optioned. So you have McCutchen and Canha, Sam Haggerty, Tyler Wade, Zeke Duran, who are kind of infielder, outfielders who are trying for a job there. and then you're going to have this catcher. So my bench prediction is catcher Duran, Haggerty, McCutchen. We're going to get into that in a second. First, let's look at what I predicted is going to be the rotation. Well, they're all of them. Evaldi, DeGrom, Gore, Leiter, Latz in that order. I did put Latz in. Last time I had Rocker. I just think he's pitching in that order with these guys, and then B, he's just been better than Rocker. I think Rocker still needs a little time to work on everything that the Rangers had him change late last season. The stuff's there. He's going to pitch in the majors at some point this year, but I think initially, as of right now, I see Latz getting that 5th spot. Onto the bullpen. You can see there Martin, Junis, Wynn, Collyer, Sborz, who are new additions for me, Baumler, Garcia, Alexander. Out, I put Alexis Diaz out. He has options remaining. He was no good yesterday. He pitched in a B game on Thursday, I want to say it was. Now, it was a little windy, okay? So, you kind of take the results and throw those out, but you also look at the way he pitched, and it seemed like he was behind batters a lot too much. He's still working on the mechanics, it looks like, and he can go and do that in the minors. I mean, it kind of stinks. The Rangers signed this guy for $1 million. They want him to be Kirby Yates 2.0, right? And he's not. Not yet, at least. It doesn't mean he can't be, but again, the velocity has to be there for him, and he has to be able to throw strikes. And the last couple he has not. I went with Collyer over Luis Curvelo and really Mark Church. I don't know that Church is going to have enough time. I know he thinks he's going to pitch in a game this week. I talked to him again before I left. He threw live batting practice a week ago today, I believe it was, and hit 98. So I mean, he's throwing the ball well. He has a big arm, and he and Collyer would give the Rangers 2 power arms, guys who can get it to 98, 99, 100, something they don't have. Don't know if they need it, but something that it's a different look for sure. Collyer has to be able to throw strikes, and he's done that for the most part. And so why now? Why put him on the 40-man now? He has to be added to the 40-man. You're going to have to do it at some point, right? Because he was Rule 5 eligible this year, didn't get selected. He's going to be Rule 5 eligible next year. Just based on this spring, he's gonna get selected, in my opinion. So that's why I'm adding him. Sborz, I think, is doing fine. It looks like he's kind of plateaued around 94 miles an hour his last couple outings, which either means that's it or he's about to break through. He's fighting through maybe a little fatigue, and he's got a little bit left. He's in a great mood. His breaking stuff looks really good. He's posting zeros, and in one of the innings, he pitched a scoreless inning. He needed some really good defensive plays behind him. But I think that Josh Sborz is getting close. He's a veteran guy. Now, again, he and Collyer are non-roster guys, so you got to find 2 roster spots for him. But that's okay. And with Collyer, he will have options. And the Rangers right now don't have anybody with options other than Robert Garcia, and he's basically going to be one of their 2 closers. So I don't know that they're going to option him if they just need an arm. So, Collyer on the 40. If you need somebody, I don't know, after the first week, if Mark Church is suddenly ready after a week, all right, Gavin Collyer can go to the minor leagues and come back and forth for the next 3 years. So that's where I have on the bullpen. The rest of it's pretty standard. Infield, no changes there for my last one. I've got Berger, Smith, Seager, Young. I had Zeke Duran in there also. So that's not changed. I think Zeke is the best shortstop among the potential extras. And he's also the best third baseman right now, because I think Josh Smith, they want him to stay at second. They want to move it around. They want him to be their second baseman. So leave him there, let him play second, and have somebody else handle third, which Zeke can do better than Haggerty and better than Wade. Catcher, Higashioka and Jansen. Joe, I see you feeling wobbly about Higashioka's back. And then Leon, I saw where you said Willie MacGyver is the nicest guy. He is very nice. He's very funny. He has options. So that's why he might have the edge over Jose Herrera if there's a need for Higashioka to start on the injured list, I think it would be Jansen MacGyver. And Willie MacGyver, I believe, still leads the Rangers in walks. He's also been very, very good with challenges as the catcher. So, hey, he apparently knows the strike zone no matter where he is, either at the plate or behind it. Okay, outfield, and this is the one where there's a little shakeup from last time. Langford, Carter, Nimmo, all good there. Peterson, the DH, Haggerty, still have him on the team, and then McCutchen replacing Canna. Again, I just think that with his pedigree, with as good a person as he is, as hard a worker as he is, he's going to work his way onto this team. I also don't think he would have signed without feeling really good or being led to the belief that he's got a really, really good chance in making the roster. So those are my predictions. I don't really have any. It's not controversial, I don't think. I did think about Church over Sborz or Collyer. Maybe he's third or fourth in that group. Maybe he and Crivello, since it's March Madness and all the March Madness predictions, maybe Crivello and Church are the first two out, but they can bolster their chances, I guess. I think Crivello's had one bad spring outing, and it was his first one, which you're allowed to have. Church needs to get into games. That's the thing. He hasn't been available. So I think, if he can get like 5 outings, I think he could make it. I don't know that there's enough time for him to get 5 outings. Camp is over in 12 days from today, but there are 2 off days in there. So unless these guys want to go pitch in minor league games on their off days, which is definitely a possibility, then we'll see what happens. And I did want to make a note about Tyler Wade, and I've been pretty strong about this, that if you're left-handed, you're going to have a hard time. If you bat left-handed, you're going to have a hard time making the roster. And I presented that to Skip Schumacher the other day, and he said no. They still have a chance to make the team because you may flip your roster more than your lineup more than once. So you may go like your first leverage situation where you want to send up all the pitch hitters. If that's in the 5th inning, those guys are going to come around again. So let's say you're facing a left-handed starter, and they go to the other team goes to the bullpen early. You have the bases loaded. You want to start getting Evan Carter in the game to get in that bat to have us an advantage against a right-handed reliever. You might go with all 3 of your left-handed all 3 of those guys, and it's okay if you still have another lefty, because then they could flip back. The other team could flip back with a lefty the next time they're through, then flip back again, and you're going to need a left-handed hitter. So it's a mess, I know, but that's how deep it goes. You don't just pinch hit once. You don't just necessarily flip the lineup once. You might need another left-handed hitter again later in the game. So they have a chance, but I still think that they're at a disadvantage. I also think because Haggerty is a switch hitter, his at-bats, he's better against left-handers, but if you need to send somebody up against a right-hander, you feel like it's an advantage to have the left-handed bat in there, Haggerty's going to go. And he's had some hits this spring as a left-handed hitter against right-handers. So it's in him. He's healthy enough as opposed to last year. He's healthier than he was last year. I do think that he makes it, that Wade's the odd man out, that Osuna is out as well, and we'll go to Round Rock to start the season. But it only takes an injury, and Lord knows those happen, for Osuna to get called up. If Wade, who's had a nice spring, I would suspect if he doesn't make this roster, he's going to have the opportunity to sign on with another team, and the Rangers would not stand in the way of that. So there's my roster prediction. We'll have another one probably next week, and then maybe before that Monday before the Royals, to start the week of opening week, might have one in there too. We should have a pretty good idea by then. If we don't know by the time the spring training ends on March 21st, if they don't announce the moves, which they haven't done for a couple years, then we'll get dragged into the last day down there of exhibitions. And I believe the rosters are due the day before the season, so the 25th That's a Wednesday. That would be a big day for the Rangers to get their roster submitted. All right. I hope that all made sense. All adds up. If you disagree, that's fine. I'm glad to talk to you about it and put it in the chat. All right. So we're gonna hit another ad break here. Then when we come back, I just got back from Arizona, so we're going to talk about what I saw on this trip to Ranger spring training, and we'll do that in just 2 minutes on the DLS Rangers podcast. All right, guys, supporter club time, true sicko level stuff. As I call it, it's the diehard membership for the YouTube channel. You go to alldls.com/@DLS_sports. It'll take you right where you need to go, and you will see a join button toward the top of your page. You hit that, and boom, you get taken through the process where you will get some kick-ass emojis there. But the most kick-ass thing is that you get access to videos that nobody else gets to see. Only supporter club members get to see them. I did one last month. Not old. Miss Cat did it for us. Put it together. I shot all the videos, and I think I sent her like 24 clips. So she did a wonderful job of weeding that out. But you get videos from the Cowboys and the Mavs and the Stars, and it's worth it. It makes you a smarter sports fan, and that's what our goal is here at DLLS. Also, our goal is to have you decked out in our finest merch, and you go to store.allcitynetwork.com and check that out. We are in the midst of a St. Patrick's Day sale. St. Patrick's Day is a week from mañana. It is a night for amateurs, so be careful out there. But if you do celebrate, maybe whether at a parade this weekend or something like that, you need green. And we give you a lot of green. In addition to our star stuff, we give you even more green. Pretty unique stuff, fun shirts. And St. Patrick's Day is fun. And shout out to all the Irish out there. But we have more than just T-shirts. There's our sale. We have sweatshirts and hats. I'm wearing the OG hat today. Flags, pint glass. I mean, if you're going to be drinking green beer, you might as well do it out of one of our pint glasses and coffee cups. All at store.allcitynetwork.com. All right, here we go for segment 3, and I've called it Spring Trip 2 using Roman numerals, Roundup. And I had the thought, do they even teach Roman numerals anymore? I'm going to have to ask my kids. I bet they don't know Roman numerals. Okay, a few things that I just observed. Some of them are fun, some of them are serious. But the first thing is that Brandon Nimmo cannot sit still. Now, he does arrive later. He's like the last guy to arrive to the clubhouse, which is interesting. I wonder what he's doing all that time before he gets there. Anyway, once he gets there, it's nonstop. He's on the go. They played a B game the other day over on the Kansas City side. That was Thursday. And like between at bats, because he didn't play the field, he would go to another practice field and run sprints. Just get the juices going. Whatever it was he felt he needed to do, he was doing it. He runs just about everywhere. Of course, he runs hard down to first base on walks, and everybody seems to get a kick out of that, including Corey Seager. But this guy can't stand still. He loves the game, and so that just shows you, I think, how either how excited he is or anxious. Probably not anxiety. Probably just ready to get to the next thing, the next at bat, whatever it is. So Brandon Nimmo cannot sit still. Now, Nimmo and Andrew McCutchen are among the nicest guys I've ever met, both as a beat writer and just in life in general. Like Nimmo, at the end of the first trip, he was doing an interview with a Mets writer from The Athletic out in the lobby, and we were walking by after talking to Nathan Eovaldi, that day's starter, and he just looked at me and goes, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like, stopped what he was doing in the interview. I think it's he's from Wyoming, I'm from Colorado. We've got the whole I-25 connection there. I hope that is, but I just think he's a heck of a nice guy, and I'm looking forward to that all year. And then McCutchen the other day, when he made his arrival to camp, was just an open book. I was really surprised Now, he didn't let his true feelings known about the Pirates, but he did say how hard it was. It was an emotional offseason, especially early on. And I would imagine it got a little bit harder when Marcell Ozuna was signed by the Pirates instead of McCutchen. But, man, what a nice guy. Family guy. Number 4, Joe, I hope you saw my tweet, is about it's his wife's favorite number. I saw somewhere where somebody said that they were thinking 2 and 2, his old number, 22, added up to 4. But apparently it's his wife's favorite number. And he understood that what 22 means to Jack Leiter. How Al wore 22. Andrew McCutchen had no designs of even asking for the number, and Jack Leiter confirmed that. Nobody with the Rangers or McCutchen himself did not ask about 22. When I told Jack that, he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So there you go. All right, Jacob deGrom, he is on his own program. He called it OP, own program. And I think today is an example of that. He's going to pitch tomorrow. All right. Everybody thought he was kind of lined up to pitch today. He's going to pitch tomorrow. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the StatCast in his debut against Cuba showed that he was throwing a sinker. And so he used to throw a sinker earlier in his career. So I asked him about it, and he's been very coy and having fun with it. Sinker? Who says I throw a sinker? I was like, well, StatCast. He's like, oh, well, StatCast says it's true. He hasn't denied, though, that he's throwing it. Maybe he's, gamesmanship, whatever. I think the scouts are going to figure it out pretty fast if he's throwing a sinker or not. But anyway, he's just his own guy, man, and he's great. Jacob deGrom, very good person. Doesn't necessarily like talking to the media, but that's fine. He's friendly when he is turning you down for interviews. On to Jock Peterson, and Jock really seems to be in a good place mentally, and I think that's good. He's keeping it loose. During the B game the other day, he was shouting encouragement to his teammates. He was cracking jokes with everybody. So that's good. That's a good sign. Last year he was going to a new team. Yes, he knew a lot of guys. Maybe he felt the weight of the contract and the understanding that the Rangers were counting on him to be a key contributor. And then when he opened up, or he guess he didn't open up 0 for 41, but very soon after he was 0 for 41, the longest hitless drought in club history. I just don't think he ever got out of it. Now, his good demeanor hasn't necessarily translated to games yet, but I've been asking about him, and the Rangers don't seem worried. I was told Jock's going to be fine. So, okay. Another good guy, a great guy, kind of a funny guy, is Tyler Alexander, the left-hander from South Lake Carroll High School, from TCU. Free agent signee this year. He's been in a great mood every time we've talked to him. He also pitched in that B game Thursday. He's going to start games for this team, I think, at some point. It won't be like 10 unless something really hits the fan. But I think, spot start, somebody turns up sore or gets sick. See Tyler Alexander in there. He told me that his goal isn't to get stretched out to a certain number of innings. It's to get what he feels like is the necessary length. Now, in this case, it's going to be 4 innings. He's going to pitch, I think, this week he said he was going to pitch like 1 or 2 innings, and then his next time after that, he would pitch 4. He pitched 3 in the B game. That way, he said, if he can pitch 4, then the next time out, he can get to 5 or 6 if he's needed in back-to-back starts. He has an idea what he's doing. He's changed some things with his slider. He's happy with everything, and I think this guy, his ERA didn't look pretty last season, but I think he's going to be a pretty good, handy guy. Let's talk about some younger guys. Carter Baumler, who's the Rule 5 guy, hence the need for an optionable arm because, Rule 5 guy has to be carried for the whole season if he makes the club. Otherwise, DFA. If he clears waiver, offered back to the team that lost him. We all know the rules by now. He's starting to feel more at home. The other day, Cole Wynn, whose wife is about to burst, he brought in a putter because Cole's like a +3 handicap, which means he shoots under par, okay, every time out. Anyway, Chris Martin was using the putter. Then Baumler took a couple whacks with it. So it seems like he's feeling more at home. He's been fine in games, fine to good. Hasn't done anything yet, to the naked eye at least, that looks like he shouldn't be on the opening day roster. We will wait and see. Cam Colley, everybody's favorite young player in this camp. I noticed it the very first day, and we're seeing the results of it. He's bulked up, okay? He's always been a skinnier, wiry kind of guy. He's got some muscle on him. He said he gained 12 pounds in muscle in the offseason. It wasn't his intention. He was just working out, and all of a sudden, boom, 12 pounds on him. It's a tough problem to have, adding 12 pounds of muscle in an offseason. And, the results are showing. He feels it. He's hitting the ball harder and hitting it further. And if he's more consistent, if he stops chasing and can turn some of those walks into base hits, Cam Colley has a chance late in the year, I think, to be in the majors. Skip Schumacher basically said that. But he's not going to break camp with this team. But he's still there, and that's not insignificant. He also said that he isn't motivated by the fact that he was not protected from the Rule 5 draft in November. He was one of the guys right on the cut line. A tough decision, I think, but all the feedback the Rangers were getting was that he wouldn't be selected, so they didn't protect him. I bet they do next offseason, especially if he has a good year this year. Two other guys, Collier, who we talked about, is still in camp. So is Peyton Gray. They've both had really good spring seasons. That's why they're still in camp. The Rangers want to see them against better competition. When you're a reliever and you're not on the roster, you pitch late in games, and in these games early on, you're facing like AA and high A hitters a lot of times. So you should be getting good results. Now, though, with regulars playing more, not just with the Rangers, but across the Cactus League, some of these good hitters are going to start playing longer and deeper, and you will see Gray and you will see Collier facing guys who you've heard of, guys who are established major leaguers, and they need to perform well. Baumler falls in this group too. You need to see how they do. And then one other one, and it was talked about earlier, Janet brought it up, Aaron Zavala, who had just a great camp, one of the Rangers' best hitters so far this spring. And I asked him about it because we know he's struggled. He was a second-round pick in 2021, 39th overall. Jack Leiter was the first runner that year. Zavala kind of breezed to AA where he hit a wall and hit it hard. He says, he played in Mexico in the winter, had a great winter. He said that down there he kind of found the joy of baseball again. And that's something I'd heard about Aaron Zavala since, really since he was drafted, that he takes things too seriously, that he doesn't have a lot of fun. And when he's struggling, it catches up with him. Now, though, he's kind of letting the bad kind of go down the drain after a bad game. It goes down the drain with the rest of the water in the shower. And he'll be at AAA this year. Expect a good year from Aaron Zavala. He knows the strike zone so well, and he's a sneaky good defender. And if you can play defense, and if you can draw walks, it seems like a real good fit for a Skip Schumacher offense. And again, and I think we talked about it last week, the Rangers are seeing signs of the little things: drawing walks, sacrifice flies, selfless at bats, things that Skip Schumacher believes are elements for a good offense. The Rangers are doing them. Aaron Zavala did them as well as anybody. He's going to walk. He's going to get the guy over. Aaron Zavala knows how to play baseball, and if he's having a good time with it, that's good news. So, anybody else? You guys have any questions about anybody else in Gray? Anybody else in the clubhouse still? We're getting down to guys who who you've heard of and have heard of for a long time. That's all that's left anymore in the clubhouse. So, there you go. We're going to go to one more ad break, our final ad read. You guys have heard it all before. And then when we get back, we're going to do some batting cleanup. We'll do that right after this. Okay, Die Hard time. And yes, we are still running our Die Hard spring training sale. Go to alldls.com/spring-training-offer. You can sign up for $36 plus a free shirt, which, as we all know, you get it stored at allcitynetwork.com. There you go. There's the graphic. That's what you need to look at. Just because I'm here doesn't mean I'm not plugged into what's happening there. Phone numbers, it's pretty amazing how many people will answer text messages and phone calls, so that's good to hear. Anytime I have a question, I'm able to get it, whether I'm in Arizona or whether I'm in Timbuktu. Right now, we're in the DLS studios in Dallas, and we're having a lot of information, a lot of things to watch. And good news, as far as the watching thing, the first Rangers televised game is Friday night, so that's good. They'll have 5 more throughout the spring. Games are going to be on the radio more, so they're going through spring training too. These announcers and broadcasters. But anyway, yeah, stored at allcitynetwork.com. And guess what? There's a QR code if you don't want to remember the website, which is alldls.com/spring-training-offer. Free shirt at stored@allcitynetwork.com. And it's not just baseball access. You're getting access to our football. Some Cowboys news today. Free agency is opening up. They made a trade. Stars, who are still very, very good. And the Mavericks, who I heard today are the 7th worst team in the NBA, which means they're closing in on that top draft pick. They're going to get a hell of a player, whoever it is. And you can hear about their trials and travails. Cooper Flagg is playing again. You can hear about their trials and travails. But go ahead and become a diehard. Do it today, okay? All right. Last segment, as always, we are batting cleanup, and we are going to start it with some very sad news. Wendy Lowe, Nathaniel Lowe, and Josh Lowe's mother, she passed away last week. She'd been battling brain cancer for more than 2 years. 33 months is a more narrow timeline on that. Nathaniel went and hit a home run in his first game, which he said is not a coincidence. He also homered it after his grandfather passed. He stayed in camp. So did Josh with the Angels. Nate's with the Reds. And, he has a roster spot to win, but also he thinks that that's what his mother would have wanted. And his dad's going to be joining them. Very, very sad thing. Because I remember, 23, when the first time the Lowe brothers faced each other, she, of course, had the half Rays, half Rangers jersey. She was eating it up, having a great time. She saw one of her sons win a World Series that year, and she saw Josh become a pretty good darn player. He's more athletic than Nathaniel. Apparently follows a little bit closer diet than Nathaniel, but that does stink. So thoughts to the Lows in this time. All right, let's move along to some cheerier news. The WBC is in full swing. We're still in the first round. I guess it's called pool play. Team USA is 2-0 after wins against Brazil and Great Britain. They were a little sluggish at times. They were up big on Brazil, and then Brazil scored 3 times in the 7th, I think it was, made it a little hairy at 7-4. This is a team the Rangers beat 13-2 without Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt, Kyle Schwarber, etc. But ultimately, the U.S. had just way too much for both teams. They're too good. They're just going to wear you down. Okay, I think Mexico is the big one. That's tonight. Benji Gill has made it sound like the biggest game in the history of any sport. It's definitely a big one for them, and it's such a big game that they're going to start journeyman Manny Barreda, who is 37 years old. He has pitched 3 times in the major leagues for the Orioles in 2021, finishing with a 13.50 ERA in his career. He threw for 3 teams last year, including 1 in China, 2 teams in Mexico, 190 1/3 innings. So this guy's a workhorse, walks too many guys. So I think Team USA will wait him out. Team Mexico, on the other hand, gets to face Paul Skeens. What could go wrong there? So advantage Team USA, though. Seems like Team Mexico, which includes Alejandro Osuna and Robert Garcia from Rangers camp, seems like they're pretty fired up. They're going to give them a game. They're a good little team. U.S., if regardless of what happens tonight, will face Italy tomorrow, and probably Michael Lorenzen, the former Rangers pitcher who's now with the Rockies. So the biggest drama from so far for Team USA has been what to do with Tarek Skubal. Tarek Skubal, he pitched that game against Great Britain, gave up a leadoff homer on the very first pitch, and then was dominant. He wants to stay. He wants to stay and pitch for Team USA in what would be their potential series, WBC championship game. He's going to decide today. He's going to announce his decision today. There would still be time for him to get ready for opening day with the Tigers, but do the Tigers want him back to get on the right schedule and all of that? We're going to find out. Maybe it's already happened, but it's supposed to happen very soon today. Another World Series related news. We talked about it Thursday a little bit. Jeremy Pena, the Astros shortstop who was playing for the Dominican Republic team, he does have a fracture in his ring finger at the very top of it. He is out 2 weeks, and then he's going to be reevaluated. But he's done with the Dominican team, which the early results indicate they haven't missed him. But it could be a blow for the Astros, at least to start the season. Not as bad as what happened in the last World Baseball Classic with Jose Altuve, who got hit in the hand and broke his thumb and missed into May, really, when he was playing for Venezuela. This isn't quite as bad, at least it doesn't appear to be. But Jeremy Pena might be on the injured list to start the year. All right, transaction news. I saw somebody mention, I believe someone mentioned it. Zach Littell has been signed by the Nationals. A guy who was in Rangers camp once, pitched at Round Rock for a little bit. Very, very good year in 2025. 10-8, 3.81 ERA, 186 and 2/3 innings, a 1.104 WHIP. Well, why on earth would somebody like that still be available at this point in the offseason? It's spring training, which I guess is still the offseason. Well, in those 186 innings, he gave up 32 home runs, and he only struck out 130 guys. So he's around the plate, which is good, but if he misses, he may not have the stuff to miss the barrels. But he's going to eat some innings. Seems like he'd be a pretty good option for somebody, and the Nationals apparently felt that way. That means that Lucas Giolito, he's still out there. He's still available. He is the best remaining pitcher who is available. I'm thinking he probably signs pretty soon, depending on what he's holding out for. Doesn't seem like he should hold out for much more if he wants to start the season in the majors. May have to go to the minors. Elsewhere, Baseball America. My friends at Baseball America, yes, I do some work for them. I'm their Rangers guy, and have been since like 2010. It's been a long time. Good Lord. Anyway, Baseball America first mock draft is out. Baseball America has the Rangers taking left-handed pitcher Gio Rojas, who is from Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida. That's where there was the terrible shooting, I believe, in 2018. And the Rangers have actually signed a lot of guys not a lot of guys. They've drafted guys from there. Most recently was Devin Fitzgerald, the infielder they sent to the Nationals to get Mackenzie Gore. And they also signed Lucas Schultz. That was in 2018. They drafted him in like the 24th round, if my research is accurate. And he didn't last. He was done by 2021. But anyway, there's some ties there. So that makes sense. He's apparently thought to be one of the best prep pitchers available. The Rangers selected a prep player, Gavin Collyer, also traded to the Nationals. Selected him last year in the first round, and that was the first time they'd gone to the high school ranks since 2018 with Colt Winn. So I still think they're going to err on the college side. But I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of value at that point. And, of course, this will be the first of probably 6 or 7 mock drafts that Baseball America does. But, hey, throw it out there. Fun to talk about. The number 1 pick this year will be the White Sox. And it says that they're going to take Rock Chalowski. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, from UCLA, shortstop. Number 2, the Rays. Baseball America has them taking Grady Emerson. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because he's from our area. He goes to Fort Worth Christian. So I would suspect that if you needed to find John Daniels on a Tuesday or a Friday this spring, he's working for the Rays now. You might want to go out to Fort Worth Christian there in, I think it's in North Richland Hills. It's not that far from Richland High. If you want to slide over, if you really need JD and don't have his phone number, that's a good place to start looking for him. Any other things out there, guys, in the chat? What do we got? Yeah, Giolito, thank you all about Sports Zone. Are you talking about our schedule there, Leon? Maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday after the last game in a series? We're going to, yeah, there you go, Kelly, man. We're going to figure that out here. I think we're going to talk about it this week. The deal with post-game shows is I can't start from the ballpark until after the Rangers post-game show is over. So it wouldn't be like an immediate start. Like all of our post-game shows, we try to start them 10 or 15 minutes after the end of a game. I will not be able to do that if I'm at the ballpark. Road games, if I'm not at the road game, then yeah, I'd be able to. But the Rangers don't want any competition from the ballpark, shot at the ballpark, at the same time as their show that they're paying for and producing. I just saw another question. Has Gray formally retired? Assuming you're talking about John Gray, Joe, and I haven't heard, and I still haven't texted him. Shame on me. But it seems like if he hasn't signed by now, he's either told clubs he would like to pitch but isn't going to be healthy, so he would like to wait until later in the year, or he's just off to Oklahoma and buy some land. His wife was due to have a baby in November. They're first. So John's an interesting guy. He has a lot of interests outside of baseball. He got his 10 years last year, which means he has been fully vested into the pension when he can start drawing on his retirement. He made $56 million in the last 4 years from the Rangers. So even after taxes, that's a ton of money. So I think John was happy either way. He told me, in fact, late in the season that he was going to retire. Then the Rangers said at the winter meetings they had received indications that he might be interested in pitching. So I'm going to guess, though, if he hasn't signed, that no, he is not going to pitch and that he is content going off to retirement. So there you go. What else? We got anything else? Elijah, any other things from the chat that might be worth mentioning? I don't know. Does anybody have any questions real quick? Yeah, Diaz. Yes, Benny, it does look like he's pitched his way off the team. Diaz. And yeah, Benny, I did see your tweet talking about Curvelo. I hope I covered that. I hope you heard it. I mean, I don't have anything against Curvelo. I just think that Collyer has, if Collier's throwing strikes, he has a better chance to get outs. That's just me. Mason, I'm sorry I missed you out there in Arizona, but you've been doing a good job on the backfields. And Supak is starting today. Yes, Misty, he is. Like I said, DeGrom and Gore are both going to pitch tomorrow. And it'd be very, 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 very weird if they both pitch in the same game, because that means that one of them would have to come in as a reliever. So there'll be a minor league game. They can scramble one, or I think they are into their season at least. At least inter-squad games have started. So I would bet that's where the one of them ends up, and I would bet it's DeGrom. That's just me. But DeGrom would throw 3 innings, try to get to 50 pitches. Gore is aiming for 5 innings in this start, whatever the next one is. So, and I think, Janet, you asked about if DeGrom was moved so that he could start on opening day. I don't think so. I think Evaldi is very, very strongly going to be the guy who pitches on opening day. What was yesterday? The 8th. He can make his last start of the spring somewhere in the 19th, 20th range, which would give him plenty of time to get ready for that start on the 26th at Philadelphia. So I think that's the way it's going to shape up. And again, the order that these guys have been pitching in is Eovaldi, DeGrom, Gore, Leiter, Latz. I think that's your rotation right there. All right, that's it for the show. It feels like I talked a lot today, which it always feels like that. But for some reason, it feels like I did a lot more talking today than usual. But anyway, I'll try to parse my words out a little bit better on Wednesday. We're back at 1 p.m. from the studio Wednesday. We'll do 1 p.m. Friday. Wednesday's a Rangers off day, so they'll be out playing golf while we're here knocking out a show. See though if we can scramble and get a guest to help me out on Wednesday. I have a couple in mind. I've even sent out one feeler already. So anyway, be sure to come back Wednesday. Hopefully we're back in the studio, Elijah. I don't know about you. It's kind of weird me in this giant room by myself, me and all my friends. So anyway, we'll see you next time on the DLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.